Hey everyone, welcome to Open Mic. I'm your host, Ramsey Chiri. I'm a psychic medium, and my co host, Tanis Coughlin. Hello, Tanis.
Hello, hello.
Although we talk to each other a lot and we do those events together, but I haven't seen her for 2 weeks now or spoken to her. So, not even over here. We don't know what is happening. So, we just like kind of just got together 2 seconds before the show. So,
We
welcome
regroup.
everyone. Here's an update. Bloody energy is all over the place. We're exhausted. I'm exhausted.
We're
I'm beyond
exhausted.
exhausted. Everybody on edge. Even I'm tired. I can't get the words right.
Yes.
And what else is happening? What else? A lot of turmoils. A lot of changes. I don't know what the hell is going on, but
Mhm.
yes, it is. Oh my god, horrible! But like everything else, I was on another show and somebody asked about some political thing. I go, listen, whenever there's change, it's going to be painful. Uh, we never like change. Humans are creatures of habit. Um, we say we love change, but we actually detest it. It takes us a while to adjust. And
Yeah.
whatever energies that are moving and changing us and trying to do something that is supposed to be doing, because that's what energy is supposed to do, it does what it's supposed to do, but we have to just be more relaxed to be able to absorb and kind of accept what is. That's what it is.
So, like, go with the flow and surf the waves.
Here is surf the wave.
Surf the
So
wave.
we have a couple of our listeners. Oh my
We
god, there's so
do,
many
we
of them.
do. We have Kaylee.
Sorry.
Hello. Hey, Kaylee. We have Teresa.
We have Teresa. We have
Hey, Teresa. Thanks for joining us. We have Bella. We have Jackie. Yay. Hello, hello, both of you. Lots of love. And
and here. What did
oh, yeah. Yeah. The worst thing is feeling irritable, anxiety that's not my own. So just leaving me exhausted and frustrated. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
and that's
Yeah.
happened a lot. A
Yeah.
lot, a lot, a lot. So
So one of the topics we're going to talk about tonight actually leads us into that,
uh-huh.
if you don't mind.
Go right ahead.
um, so I had to teach a class today. So I delved into a few topics that I have not had the opportunity to delve into, which is why I always love teaching new classes because, um, you know this part, but there's this piece that you just haven't bothered to learn, and then you start to bring that in, and you're like, oh, when you get all these light bulb moments, and like, yeah, it's awesome. So it was a great class. It went really well, and so I thought I would share some of it with you because it's about telepathy. But the part that was fascinating for me was what's wrong?
What do you mean? What do you mean telepathy? We talk to each other through thoughts?
Yes.
No. Come on.
Yes.
Do tell. Do tell.
You talk to guides all the time the same way. It is the same thing. It's just that as humans, we don't play our role all that well, right? So whenever we have telepathy, there has to be a transmitter and a receiver in order to make it happen. And so for us to be the receiver, we have to be in that receptive state of high vibration, of opening up our awareness, of just allowing and having the intention to allow. So when we can be in that, that's great, but we're not always there, right? And then as the person transmitting, when you're transmitting an idea, it can't be just that's the idea, that's it. You've got to have something from like all three areas to really help that person delve into it. So you need something that's like a picture, like a shape or a picture. Then you need like a word or an emotion that goes with that word, right? The emotion is super important. We have to feel it. And then the energy that goes behind it as well. And that's how we can be good transmitters of information when we're talking about telepathy. So I thought I would share a couple of slides because I have them. So I might as well. Why not?
Why not?
Let's do that. All right, one sec. There we are. Actually, I'll put this on slideshow so we can see. All right. So you see here the perceptual process. We've got sensory stimuli, which we get from everywhere. And then we have sensory receptors. This is within us, okay? So then the sensory receptors, we get exposure to the receptor. Then we have to pay attention to it. Then it goes through our filters often. And then we have adaptation where we're actually giving the message, right? Or we're changing depending on what the stimuli is. So when you're having a conversation like that, the stimuli would be the thought that comes through. Sensory perceptors, those are the ones that are receiving the thought. They take the exposure, they have to give the attention. And the best part about this part, though, is we have to take the interpretation out of it. That means getting rid of the filters that we have, that we use all the time. So take the interpretation out of it and just give the message. That's the best way to give messages when it comes to that. So how are we connected? Because we're all connected. That's how we can do this. Have a good lay down, Bella. So John Bell posited in 1964 that such changes can be induced or occur instantaneously, even if particles are very far apart. Albert Einstein had already shown years before that the information cannot travel faster than the speed of light. So he was kind of perplexed about that, right? Famously described this entanglement phenomenon as spooky action at a distance. So this is spooky action at a distance. This is where I got this from. Oh, you can't see it here.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think they can see the...
You can see it on the big screen, yes.
I want to make sure that you can see this piece because I want to make sure people know that I'm not plagiarizing because it does come from that website. So go to that website if you like the pic, okay? I'm going to put it back in slideshow. Okay, so we got photons. So we have entangled photons, right? We got them here. And then we give one photon to Alice and one to Bob. Oh, you could see it. Okay, perfect. And then we go and we separate Alice and Bob. Okay. The perception or how you measure the photon is actually important. So you'll notice here, they're different places. They have those separate photons. The photons are still entangled. Alice chooses to measure hers, the polarization. Bob measures his. You see they're showing here a different tool. So they measure it differently. But because they're still entangled, they're correlated. There's still a correlation between them. So even though the photons are far apart, they're still correlated because they are entangled. So this is the entanglement, right? Quantum entanglement. There's also the Baxter effect. This was cool. So Cleve Baxter, we find that all things in nature are connected no matter the distance between them. So he was a polygraph expert. And he had this polygraph device that he was using. And he decided he would hook it up to a plant. So he hooked it up to his plant and started doing things to the plant to see if the plant would react to it. Because you're looking for spikes, right? Because just like on us, a polygraph, you would have a spike if there's a stress response, right? So he did all sorts of things, and he couldn't get a stress response out of the plant. So he walked away from the plant, went into the other room, and was thinking, how am I going to get something out of this plant? Because I'm sure that there is something like this. Oh, maybe I could burn it with fire. The moment he said that, the moment he thought it, actually, the polygraph went off. So he found that plant had a fear response at his thoughts. So he hadn't even done anything yet. It was reacting to his thoughts. So plants, we can communicate with them in a telepathic way. right? He took this a little bit further, and he did some yogurt. Yogurt is bacteria, right? It's created by live bacteria. He had yogurt in his fridge. He took a little bit out and he brought it in the other room. And then he all of a sudden thought, oh, I'm going to put some antibiotic in my yogurt that he was taking or whatever. Of course, antibiotics kill bacteria, which were in the yogurt. Well, the yogurt that he had hooked up to the polygraph reacted. And that was in the other room. So again, it was still entangled. The yogurt was still entangled, despite the fact that there was distance between them. Then he had, I think his name was O'Leary, and he was another military guy. And what they did was they wanted to see if our cells were entangled in the same way. So they took epithelial cells and they processed them so that they could actually hook it up to the polygraph machine. And then the guy left to go on a trip, went on a plane and all that stuff. They had their watches synchronized. And what he found was all of the things that didn't go well on this flight, like the guy almost missed his flight. His son didn't come to the airport to pick them up. Like it was like a bunch of little things like that were unexpected. He wrote down the times of those. When he checked back with Baxter, he found that each time, the epithelial cells that they had kept 300 miles away had a reaction. Is that why they say to talk or sing to our plants to help them grow? Yeah, because we communicate with plants. We're entangled with them. So we are entangled with all living things on the earth. That's why we can talk to plants. We can talk to trees. We can talk to crystals. And they talk to us if we listen. We're just not very good at the receptive piece. Okay? Because there is no time and space. Yes, spooky action at a distance. Exactly, Teresa. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Hypnocity. Nice to see you. So consciousness flows where intention goes, right? Or energy flows where intention goes. There's no time or space. Everything's happening right here, right now, just in a different frequency. So we can tune into this now moment, or we can choose to tune into a different now moment. And that's where astral travel comes from, right? We go, okay, I'm going to choose to tune into that time when I was getting bullied in school. And I'm going to go back and heal that. So I'm going to tune into that and I'm going to do some healing and I'm going to stand up to the bully this time. Right? So we can heal that experience for ourselves. So we're all connected. We communicate through the quantum field. I used quantum field, could be the astral, there's varying names for it. It's really just an energy field, right? So we're only able to perceive a very small amount in our awareness of all the stimuli that are coming at us. There's much more that we perceive at an unconscious and subconscious level. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one, but just to give you an idea, right? So we're only perceiving in our conscious mind here, but we have all of this stuff here, right? And these are all at different brainwave states. So when we meditate, we bring ourselves into the different states. This allows us to move through, know different things, and be aware of different things. We tap into frequencies so we can perceive them, right? So when we're perceiving frequencies that are not in our usual frequency range, we tend to think of them as gifts. So we've talked about that on this show before, how, we have our regular this is our regular awareness range. And when we raise our vibration or we go into meditation or all of those things, we tend to do this. And all of a sudden we're open and receptive. So we become that receptor for the telepathy. Did you know that the strongest vibration energy wins? So if the room is full of angry and low vibe people, negative people, and you stay in your high vibe state, you can change the overall vibration of a room just by holding your frequency. Staying in your state, no matter what comes at you, stay in that state. You will end up affecting people in the room. You will have a positive effect on those people around you. Wayne Dyer said one high vibrational person can positively affect 20,000 others. Okay. So this is what we were talking about. Projected thought and a receiver of the thought. Thoughts are perceived much stronger when there is emotion behind it. Okay. So I think that's enough of that. But I just wanted to give you a little bit of an overview so that we're all on the same page for when we're chatting about telepathic communication. So the key is putting the emotion into it.
You know, mothers are great receptors.
Absolutely.
They are, I think, the number one, because they can feel across the globe if anything is going on with their child.
Mm-hmm. And it's because they are in the quantum entanglement with their child.
Yeah.
And there's the love bond.
Mm-hmm.
So I was listening to, what's his name? James Van Praagh, about telepathy. And he was talking about how if you connect heart to heart with that person, or you are connected heart to heart with that person, you will get the message easier. It will come through clearer. And that's kind of what happens with the mother-son or mother-child bond, right?
Yes.
That's part of it, Kaylee, yes. It is partially because the parents' cells are in their child.
But
so that's an even stronger bond.
Yeah, but I think it's more than that. It's the emotional connection that is extremely strong between a mother and a child. That is different from a father and a child. Not that the father does not feel, but the connection is not as strong, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it depends on the situation. But I think that there are some differences in how men and women process emotions.
Mm-hmm.
And emotion being one of the telltale things in this type of communication, because it is a language, right? So there's also the language. The reason this is a big topic for me is also because of the ET thing, right? Because I communicate with ETs telepathically, and emotion has to come into it in order for it to be that way. So, hello, Estella. Thank you for joining us.
And seeing you in a while. Thank you for joining. Yeah, so also it happens between friends. And I know because, yes, I blah, blah, blah. Because sometimes people say, oh, well, you're a psychic medium. It's easy for you. It's not easy for me. It's just when you connect with friends or family, then you have to listen. And that's the key thing, is that we don't listen. We tend to analyze every little thing, that we lose sight of what's been happening around us. For example, maybe a week and a half ago, I felt something is wrong with my friend, but I was so busy at work, and like I'm buried. So I finished work. I got in my car. It was 5 o'clock. I was exhausted and said, go see your friend before you go home. And I go, no, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. Let me put it in the GPS. And I go, and I'm driving, and I go, I can't do that. Change the GPS, go home. And then I got home, and I got a second one. It's like, I go, no, I want to eat right now. I'll call after. I don't want to talk right now. I want to chill. And the third one came in. I said, okay, that's it. It's enough. So I texted my friend and I said, how are you doing? She said, oh, well, fine. Everything is okay. Everything is beautiful. Everything is rosy. I said, okay. I said, I go, Spirit asked me to contact you 3 times. So what's happening? Oh, nothing. Maybe you're checking on my daughter because she was. I said, no, 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 no. Spirit is asking me to check on you, not your daughter. What are you doing now? She replied, crying. I said, okay, I'll be over in 2 seconds. So got in the car, went over there. It's just, you don't need to know what is happening. You don't need to analyze, just listen, and you'll understand. It will take you there. It will direct you and guide you on how to. Now, sometimes you might get it in big emotions. Like, I didn't talk to my friend for a week now. We went out for dinner, kind of like, work things out, whatever in their life. And then today I went to the supermarket to get one thing. I was putting my hand over to pick up something from the shelf, and the face of my friend comes up. I go, holy shit. Well, I sent a text message. I can't remember. Yes, I said, all is well, heart. That's it. I don't need to say to figure out what are you doing, what is happening, and that's it. All is well. And I get a big thank you. It's just, you hear it. Someone needs to hear something. Someone needs a word from you. That's telepathy. It
It
happens
is.
every day, every day, every day of our life, every day. Yeah.
And I would bet that every one of you in the audience has had a situation like that, or a situation where you thought, oh, I need to call so and so. And then they call you because they were already thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Absolutely.
Big hello to Ms. Tarot. Ms. Tarot D. Hey. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Hi, Sylvia.
I have to go text my friend. Okay. Hey.
Yep. So it's funny because for me, I get messages like that when I'm on Messenger on my phone, Facebook Messenger. I'll be looking there, and at the top they've got the little bubbles there of your friends.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of go like this, and all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, I'm supposed to contact them. Oh, I need to call them. And so I end up texting all these people. And when I actually do that, it's amazing how many times they text back. I was just thinking about you. Oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. I needed to talk to you. It happens all the time. It's amazing.
This one in reply to men and women connecting to their child. And yes, I do believe because of way we process, I want to say we as men process data, it's different than women.
Yeah.
So with one side of the brain at a time, I agree. And women tend to go, I don't know if he's a comedian or something, when he shows like the brain of a man and the brain of a woman. The brain of a man walks into the supermarket, goes, one can of this, one box of that, and goes out. And the brain of a woman goes, oh, there's this thing for that person, and I have to get this person, and this person, how about this one? And Christmas is coming, and his birthday, and so on. And then it goes into a whole different, what do you call it, realm of thought activities that actually start sparking. And the man goes, but we want just baby powder or something,
Yeah.
But that's the way we're created. It's a different vibe for each one.
Yeah. We're all individually different.
Yeah.
Even, right? We all, no matter of our sexes, we're all different in terms of how we process the stimuli that come in, how we end up expressing that stimuli. We're all different. Big hello to Gerald of Tarot Stash, who made it.
Gerald.
Yes, exactly. Especially with those that are closer to you, Miss Tarot D. Yeah. There he is.
Where is he? I didn't see him. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to...
Oh, there we go.
There he is. You made it. Now it's not. Oh, here it is.
There we go. He's sending you hearts. There you go.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
It happens many times. Yeah, Stella, I'm sure you and others have this ability to feel or even get a word. But by the way, okay, we didn't mention that because sometimes it comes in a sentence. It's not just only a feeling about somebody's feeling good or not. It also comes in either visual, like I was saying, like I saw the face, or it come in a sentence, or it might come even in a song that you're listening to. It's like, call that person. They like the song, call that person. So it comes in different form.
It does.
Yeah. My mom and I did
Did
that a
that a
lot.
lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Again, that child bond, mother-child bond, right?
Yes.
One spirit guides connects more with the other person's spirit guides. Messages flow easier. Yes, of course. Yeah,
And
definitely.
actually, there was an energy exercise where you sit and you put. Is he laughing or crying?
It's his little logo with his
Oh,
mustache and glasses.
sorry, I can't see well. Even with my glasses, I'm half blind. Oh, I'll leave that.
There's a question. You're going to leave that to me, you said? Is that what you just said?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, for me, the soul is what comes in and enters us, and it animates who we are. It's that piece of energy. The spirit would be almost like your higher self. It's what connects us to the spirit world. So, or that higher spiritual aspect of you. That's how I see the difference. So it's all connected, but the soul is kind of what's in us, and it leaves when we die. Spirit is that essence of us that remains on the other side, so that we can have that connection. In a nutshell,
Awesome.
I think it's way more complicated than that, but that's in a nutshell. That would be my answer for that.
So, there's the what do you call it? There's an energy exercise where you sit and start from with your hands, with your palms close to each other, and you build an energy ball, and that ball could work like the messenger pigeon in the old days, but faster and more
Didn't we
reliable.
do this a couple of weeks ago?
We did that on the show also. So you condense the energy in a ball. You put the message and you send it to the right person. Oh, not the right person. You send it to the person that you want to communicate with, and that person can get it stronger. To get the message stronger, like not just thinking about it, but it comes with a ball of energy, and that energy, of course, it requires emotion and connection to the other person. Otherwise, you won't be able to generate it. So that's another form of telepathy.
Mm-hmm.
Or pitching communication. I don't know.
Pitching communication. I like that. So if the soul reincarnates, how can we still connect with our loved ones in the spirit world? Through mediumship.
Pardon?
Through mediumship.
Yes.
And our higher self, right? Because our higher self is always connected to the spirit side. So we can always connect. So I'm not sure if you're asking, for instance, if I reincarnate, how can I speak to the other side? Because that would be the mediumship thing. Or if you're asking if our relatives reincarnate, how do we speak to them?
I think
Because that's a little more complicated. Yes and no. I mean, that's a little more hard. It's harder for us to wrap our head around, but we're still able to communicate with their higher self.
Yes. Your
And that's
higher
what we do.
self stays in the spirit world with the consciousness that was left behind, and your connection to that consciousness part.
Mhm.
And you communicate through that.
That's right.
If you have other questions, please keep them going.
Second thing you've said. Okay, yes. Okay.
Is that fragment we're connecting to? Fragment, you mean a fragment of the soul or the higher self and the spirit?
Okay, higher self makes sense. Yeah.
That's the one.
Okay, so like if you were to pass, then your soul to reincarnate, how would your soul relatives connect to you? Yeah, through your higher self.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what people are interested in. Yeah.
Thoughts on psychic bleed through? Bleed through. When you hear thousands of tiny voices in the distance, what's a bleed through?
It's just you're hearing all of the messaging in the background all the time.
Oh,
So it's somebody that's really sensitive. So it's like,
yeah,
you know how I talk about how you open up
yeah,
the range so that you can hear that. So what I used to do was I would picture static. Yeah. So
yeah,
I would picture a tuning knob like a radio, and I would like turn it down so that I didn't get all of that.
yeah.
That's what I would do.
And actually, you can ask them to move away. It's very simple.
Yeah.
You can
And they have
look.
to acknowledge.
It's my private time now. Please, take 10 feet apart. You can smoke 9 feet away from this building. So, you,
Yeah.
and they work. They do that. They're very good with that. Once you
Yeah.
give them your thought, like your request, it happens automatically. I
And
saw.
hello, Rachel.
Yes, by the way, I saw your name, but I forgot to say hey.
Okay, so Teresa says,
yes,
seems like our bodies are outfits that our higher self wears on earth. Yes, and the higher self sends that piece of energy for the soul down to connect, so that there's always that energetic connection.
Well, Ram Dass used to say, we're all souls in drag. Because we all put a different costume on and we play the role and we walk out.
Yes.
It's a role we play with the costume that we have. And it is a drag. If you want to if you want to go down into the definition of the word.
Yep.
You just put on a coat to change who you are.
Yep. It's our meat suit.
Love that.
Yeah.
I know it is hilarious. When I heard it the first time, I was laughing, but it makes absolute sense.
Yeah, earplugs aren't going to work, Rachel, because it's not your external hearing, it's your internal. So that's not going to work for you.
Earplugs, whatever you want, those noise canceling stuff, it never works. Never.
No, you got to have a chat with them. Tell them to chill.
Yep. So when communicating with spirit is also the same thing. It's a telepathy almost.
It is telepathy, yeah. It's telepathy with our spirit guides or with our loved ones, on the other side.
So all we're doing is just we're not opening. Okay, there's nothing to open. All we're doing is paying attention to what is happening around, and that's right. The key. Yeah. So paying attention to what circulates around, but something that is okay. For example, somebody asked me to help them with they have some what it called shoulder pain and ear pain and whatever pain. And so I said, okay, fine. I haven't worked on people for a while on Reiki. I'll just do an energy session. Just relax. This time I'm gonna work on you. So while I was working on her, I got 3 nudges on my ear. I go, okay, and I'm still working. And then the second one, and I go, okay, so what is it? She's not listening. Okay, which is awesome. Don't touch the ear. She just has to listen and it will fix itself. So I finished working on her neck and shoulder, and then I sent her a message and go, by the way, tell me how you feel. She goes, oh, my neck and shoulder are feeling much better. I said, she goes, but my ear is still the same. I said, yeah, because you don't listen. They're telling you to listen. So once you listen, it will start to ease the pain.
Yeah.
So listening sometimes is what gets us those messages.
So that's why, so Estella asked why spirit does not leave. Okay, so, and Rachel says, I'm like, guys, leave me alone. So the other thing is, if there's something urgent that they're trying to tell you, you need to give them a chance to tell you, because they're going to keep at it. So once you give them that chance, and then you say, okay, I've listened.
Yeah.
I need a break. This physical meat suit needs sleep. So knock it off. I've given you a few minutes to listen. And if you're not hearing it, then you have to tell them to bring their vibration down. Okay? Yes, I did tell you that this week, didn't I? I was like, go listen. They want to tell you something.
And if you're tired, if you're exhausted, you might not hear them.
Yeah.
It will come in a vivid dream if you like it or not. And when you wake up and you have this dream that you're still in it while your eyes are open, write it down, because if you don't do that, you forget what the dream was and the message that came with it. We think we remember everything, but a couple of minutes later, it's all gone because it's not in the mind. It's not the brain that is processing the idea. It's passing through.
Yeah, I like this too. Thank you, Gerald. He likes to say, "You need to tell me in a way I can hear you, please."
I like that.
Yeah. There was a question up higher here from Paris. How many angels surround us from birth, and can we communicate with them to manifest? Okay, well, manifesting is really you choosing a timeline. We choose different timelines. We just choose what we want, and then we create it. So it's not really about working with your angels for that. However, how many angels surround us from birth? Okay, so I would say first we're talking about more than angels that surround you. There are ascended masters, there are spirit guides, there are ancestors. All of those surround you from birth. And there are ones that are with you just to get you to a certain point. They have like specific jobs. So there are some that are there for your whole life. And I can't tell you how many because it varies by person. Depends on what you're doing, how advanced your soul is, how far along you are on your own journey, all of those things. It depends on which stage of this lifetime you're at, how many guides you need in that moment. But there's ones that are with you your whole life, and then there's ones that come in to so there was guides that came in to get me to Reiki. They're like, okay, she's not paying attention. We need to get her to go to Reiki. Then there's ones that came in to get me to start my mystery school teachings. And then ones to start the business. Like there was different ones that came in at different times. And they seem to change out depending. So I had a fairy for a long time as a guide. And once I got to the mystery schools and found that and started those teachings, she changed out. And I ended up with other guides and dragons and centaur and all sorts of things, but it was fun. But, I knew her, so I had been working with her, Annabelle, and she had to go. So she still comes and visit once in a while, but she's not there ongoing like she had been for a long time. So I hope that answers your question, Paris. And you can communicate with them telepathically. That is kind of what we're talking about today, is how do you communicate? You have to have be that open receptiveness. They're very good at putting the emotion and the energy into it. But like Gerald says, we have to ask them sometimes, you need to tell me in a way I can hear you. We have to communicate with them, and we have to get to know our particular guides, because when we have that heart-to-heart connection, like we do with parent and child, right? When we have that connection with our spirit guides, it's easier for us to hear them. So that's what I would encourage. I'm just reading here. What does Gerald say here? He says, I say to guides that come to me during readings, English, please, or in a language I can translate. Yes, exactly. And energy is one of those, energy is one of the things that a universal language. So, and a lot of times telepathic information comes in as energy, and then our brain translates it, right? So
Another way to communicate with them is to create an altar. Altar helps a lot.
it does.
You can create an altar, put some stones if you want in there, pictures, what do you call it, of angels if you like, or of ascended master, whatever it is. Just put them in there and talk to them over there, because then the concentration of energy stays in that section of the house. So if you're not doing it on a regular basis, you always can go into that space and communicate with them, because they will reside, or their essence resides over there too.
So there's another piece to that as well, if I might. When they have all four elements, they can actually become more physical, and it's easier to communicate with them because they can use those four elements to create a more tangible experience for us by using those four elements. So that's why you'll often see, doesn't matter what kind of spiritual practice or religious practice, there's always all four elements involved. You'll have, so for instance, almost all practices have candles for fire, right? They almost all have either stone altars or wood altars for earth. A lot of them will have either feather motifs, or they'll have incense for air. And a lot of them will have water involved, right? There's baptismal ceremonies. There's oftentimes you'll have a water feature if you're in like the Buddhist tradition, that kind of thing, or they'll have sand or salt as earth or crystals. So all of those things that you have on your altar are like an offering to them, so that they can use those energies to combine to create, because that's what we do. That's what alchemy is. We take all four elements and energy to create a change. And so this actually speaks to one of the other questions as well, in terms of what tools do you use to manifest from Paris. So one of them is an altar to manifest, because you are taking all four elements and you're putting them together to create. The other thing is using mantras to create, because we had a conversation on Gerald's show about on Tarot Stash with Jen this week, actually, about the reticular activating system, and how it helps you to create, because it puts that in your mind, and then you notice the things that you need to do in order to create more. So there's some brain chemistry there too that happens. So I hope that's helpful.
Hello, Michelle.
Hey, Michelle. Yes, we have the best chatters. Absolutely. Aw, thanks. Yeah, it's a great conversation tonight. It's awesome. Would that be why it's easier when working in a group or at your place? Because my mind is more quiet, more in that ready space than my everyday. Yes. And when you get more than one person who is intuitive, you carry more of a higher vibration. So two higher vibration people, when they get together, it amplifies it. So you're both higher vibration than you would be alone. So that's part of it. So you're more receptive. It's that receptive energy, right? And the other thing, well, at my place, I mean, I've got an altar always. When you come, there's always an altar set up. There's crystals, there's all of that, which also raises the vibration of the room. So, and Gerald says, I've been fortunate when I say that translate, please. They've been accommodating. I think my intention of accurate message delivery comes through. Yes. And they do want to accommodate. They want to be understood. That's why they're trying to give the messages, right? So, absolutely. Yeah, so you're more receptive. Michelle says, love this topic. Jonathan, I just purchased a set of books on ancient mantra and yantras to defend against dark forces. I'm loving it. Our warriors. We have our spiritual warriors in our midst. Michelle says, hi, cowbell. Well, I think it's Jonathan that says hi, cowbell, but we say hi, cowbell too. That's for Gerald. Okay. How many realms exist within our construct? Okay. So this depends on whether you're talking physical reality, spiritual reality, whether you're talking timelines or dimensions. Okay. Timelines, there's infinite number of timelines. There are 12 physical dimensions, at least in the construct that I use. as well as 7 spiritual dimensions, which are in a certain amount of the physical dimensions. They're sort of concentrated in the center. I hope that's helpful. And those dimensions go from first dimension to 12th dimension, right? First dimension is your like crystals and stuff. They're actually conscious beings, like we were talking about earlier with the yogurt and stuff, and the plants. And then plants and some animals are second dimensional beings. There are animals and some humans that are at third dimension, and then there's fourth dimensional humans. There's then fifth dimensional beings who are often your elementals, so your fae, your dragons, those kind of things are more or less at that. And there, some of us are moving to that fifth dimensional consciousness, slightly different than the fifth physical dimension, but we won't get into that at this time. And then they go up to like the 6th is where your higher self is. 7th is like your monad, which is where your spiritual ancestors are. And then it goes up and there's group soul and all of that. And you get up to 10th dimension, which is your ascended master's dimension. 11th dimension is your angelic dimension. And 12th dimension is like God and source.
Well, good. You talked about dimensions. I just want to say one thing is that on your altar, if you can put, okay, what I do, I have little rocks that I got them from a beach from England, but you can use whatever you want to use. And in there, you honor multiple generation of your mother's sides and your father's side, okay? And that will take you on higher dimensions.
Yeah.
So when you take the clan from parents to grandparents, great, although you don't know who they were, you don't know their names. You might know if you have ancestry.ca, but if you don't, it doesn't matter. Just honor those multiple generations, and when you sit at your altar and you pray or you connect or whatever it is, you're actually flowing through multiple dimension with your family.
Yeah.
It takes you into a higher dimension at a faster speed, I find, than to just, well, because of course my head can quiet for beans, I'm a squirrel. Ooh, shiny object.
Sorry, guys.
So that helps. So go, if you do that on your altar, it helps you go into multiple levels.
Oh, that's cool, Teresa. Beautiful.
Well, that's an awesome.
Very shamanic. Yeah, very shamanic. I love that.
That's really cool.
So when we're talking about this quantum entanglement and everything, I actually did an interview on one of my podcasts called Bridge to the Galaxy. And I did that with Adam Apollo. And he went into a whole bunch of stuff about quantum entanglement and stuff. So I'm going to put the link in the chat here, okay? So this is the Bridge to the Galaxy episode. With Adam Apollo. So check that out if you want, because he's got a very interesting way of putting it forward too. So.
What's seer?
Nice.
Somebody asked a question.
Info about seers. Well, seers are clairvoyants, right? So they're people that can see messaging as it comes in.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what you're thinking about, Paris. Is that correct? They can take the form of like shaman and stuff. So a shaman will see, they've been called seers before. Shaman, they see into other dimensional frequencies. And so they can, go and meet up with other beings in the other realms, really. That's part of what I do as well, because I'm a Celtic shaman. Yeah, someone that can see in the spirit world. Yeah. So oftentimes shaman, that is their role. I think that a lot of us that do readings and stuff, we actually have that ability as well. Teresa said she watched about 9 minutes of that, but then got distracted. I'll book it now. Yeah.
I fully feel with you.
It is long. It's an hour. It is an hour. If you want to go closer for I think the quantum entanglement stuff is a little later on in it, but it's all fascinating. He's quite an interesting guy.
Yeah. So mediums, we go into different realms. If you're really you find yourself out of your body somewhere else and just chit chatting or doing stuff or seeing different things, just an FYI.
Yeah, and they're just that's them seeing other frequencies, right?
Yeah.
So the other dimensions are all around us. They're just at a different frequency. So we usually only see this frequency range. They're in this frequency range. So in order for us to see them, we have to raise our vibration enough to be able to see into those other frequencies. But they're all around us all the time. Hypnocity says she's been told she's a way shower. What does that mean? So a way shower is somebody who one of their contracts when they came down is to kind of show the way to the rest of humanity. In other words, be that spiritual self and share it whenever you can, basically. So a way shower is like show people how to raise their vibration, how to tap into their own spiritual gifts, so that's a way shower. You're kind of earlier. I think most way showers are kind of incarnated a little earlier during this big time right now. So we have a fair number of way showers on the earth at this time for that reason, because we're going through this big ascension process.
I didn't know those terminologies existed.
I don't know. I'm just telling people what I'm being told. They make me look smart. It's not me. We've had a lot of wonderful questions, guys. Thank you so much. It's awesome.
You feel lost. Hey, don't worry about it. We're all lost.
Who feels lost? Hypnocity feels lost? Yeah, well, you know what? That's part of the time. Yeah.
Like a tour guide.
That's what some of us do. So I'm like a guide. It's part of what I do. So I do that kind of guide work because we do tend to.
No,
don't follow me, I'm lost.
No, the thing is, just a quick one on that. When we start this journey, years after, and we think we mastered everything, and we're so lost because every time we reach a level, we think, this is it. I can lead, and then it's not it. It's just an itty tiny bit of fraction, and then you go into a second wave, and then the second wave becomes like overwhelming, and then you adapt to it, and you go, this is it, and then you think that you want to start with it, and then it's not there. But based on my experience of 20 years of it and not it, and it and not it, is there's nothing that we know, and there's nothing that we don't. And with whatever you know and you feel is good for you and you want to share it, because that message, it is so waited for by a group of people that are following you. They might not be following you directly, but your word will go directly to them because that's exactly what they're waiting for. So,
yeah.
Just
hi, Stone Hobbit. And the other thing is, no matter where we are, there's always somebody that's behind us on the journey. We always have people ahead of us, and we always have people behind us. So really, we're just, if you can picture all walking up a hill and everybody's holding hands as they go down the hill. That's kind of where we're at, right? So there's always going to be somebody here, and there's always going to be somebody down here that you're helping. So you're a way shower to those ones, right? And you're getting the way from the ones that are above you. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah.
So you're not lost. You're just in that space. That's where it is. You know, when I first started teaching Reiki, I thought, I just got my master's. How am I supposed to teach Reiki to people? I'm still like trying to implement it myself. How am I going to do this? There's always somebody who's ready to learn at the level that you can teach, because we can all teach somebody, and we can all learn from somebody, because we're all here learning.
We never
Absolutely.
stop learning, ever.
That's right. And I'll tell you, the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know.
And who said that? I think it was Eckhart Tolle that said that. The teacher and the taught are one.
Yeah.
The words you utter are the words that go into your ears and teaches you something. So you always learn from what you say and how you say it.
Well, and especially when we're channeling like we do.
Oh, yeah.
There's many times I'll be teaching a class and something will come out of my mouth and I'll go, oh, thanks. Because it was something that I had wanted to know. Just shared it with everybody and realized, oh, yeah. Yes, the best guide is a forever student. Exactly. Absolutely.
It's always a journey, and we're always learning.
Hey, Judd, thanks for joining us. Yeah, it's always about learning and teaching. Absolutely.
What modalities of energy healing would you recommend? I'll tell you which one. The one that feels good for you. There is no one.
I was waiting, anticipating. Oh, which one? Maybe there's one I should learn.
I'll give you an example of myself. I started. It was like I became a dry sponge in a bucket of water, and I wanted to take everything all at once, right here, right now. And I started jumping from one modality to another, and to another, and to another, and oh yeah, there's one in New York. Go do it in New York. There's one over here, and so on and so forth. It was nonstop. And at the end of the day, what I realized, everything that I acquired became into one, and it's part of my healing practice as one, even when it's, including mediumship. So you might not know where to go at the beginning. Whatever pops up for you, you can go for it. And if you feel that a specific calling to, like you have a calling towards something, just go for that. And if you don't, if you trust the person, go take a modality with that person, rather than going online or some people that you don't know. It's very important to be protected with your clan, the ones that you know.
Yeah.
Because you'll never know on the outside. You know, people have their own issues. They carry it with them. When they give these classes, sometimes it comes out in a different way. So I always say it's better to do it with the people that you know. And you can check the Twillo Academy.
Yeah, Twillo Lifestyle Academy.
And pick something that resonates with you, or the first thing that comes out, just go for it. Or read them. If you're like me, you have to weigh the pros and the cons, and oh my God, I have a square mind. I'm an accountant, by the way. I have a square mind, so it has to be, debits and credits. I have to figure out where it fits exactly. You can do.
We're working on them, folks. We're working on it.
So that's an awesome question. Thank you.
Have a good night, Miss Marita. Thank you for joining us. Hello to Pierrette White. Hello.
And yes, Canadians know. We're both Canadians.
Yes.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, and that's Michelle says that's what I love about our community. We have wonderful modalities to share. We do. That's that's what I always feel so blessed to be to have all the teachers that we have working with us for the community and for the academy, because we all have our specialties, and so we all teach those specialties, and we're specialists at those things, and so that just really helps everybody to feel comfortable. Because we have those, it's like, when you focus your attention on a certain thing, you can become the expert in that thing. So rather than, for instance, me trying to be everything to everybody, I have a group of people that have their own specialties, that they are awesome at those specialties, right? So when we do classes and stuff, it's those people that I have teach those classes, and if they're willing, of course. And that's what I love about community, right? Because it takes a community to really build the energy and and just, that Ram Dass quote, right? We're all just walking each other home. So community is all about that. Where are we located? We are located online. What if you're wrong?
You're never wrong.
What if you're wrong for what?
No,
about what you choose?
One modality over the other. You're never wrong.
No.
Whatever you choose is the right thing for you, because if it wasn't, you wouldn't have chosen it.
That's right.
Who said that? Ram Dass. Or one of them. I don't know.
One of those guys who knows more than we do. Or he says really good things anyways.
So you can,
this is good. Have a good dinner. I think we might have missed you already, Gerald, but have a good dinner.
If you follow your heart and your intuition, I don't think you can be wrong. Like with Reiki, you can't hurt anyone with it. No.
And the other thing is, if you get to it and you get into it and you realize you don't resonate with it, that's okay. You learned something from it. Some of the classes that I took along the way, and I'm not even necessarily talking about energy healing stuff, but you take classes, whatever. I'm a lifelong learner, so I'm always taking something. There are classes that I've taken that I've learned that I never want to teach it like that. And that's what I learned from the class. Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead. You were thinking. I heard you thinking.
Same thing is that when I took the Reiki, I became a Reiki master, a teacher. And I didn't, like, for example, for me, I don't want to sit and draw those symbols and think of them or visualize them or anything. I'm very simple. If it's not simple, I don't like complicated in my life. So I went into other modalities to see the simplest one. But what happened is that although Reiki maybe was not for me as a Reiki per se, like to follow a certain structure, it still built that foundation for me to be able to acquire other energy and use it for healing and teaching.
Yeah.
It's funny. We think that we don't, no, that was such a waste of time. Nothing is a waste of time.
No, it gives you foundation.
Yes.
And so, for me, Reiki was like what I always call it, my gateway drug to all of this, because it was the foundation for me. It was like, it gave me that framework to start actually moving forward with my journey. But it's not for everybody, right? It's different for each person. Yes. So, but I have often suggested that people take Reiki to give themselves that framework if they have none, because Reiki is one of those most commonly known things, right? So, but it doesn't mean it's for everybody. Can energy healing drain you? Okay, yes, if you're doing it incorrectly. If you're doing it correctly, it doesn't drain you. So when you first start, that was one of the big problems for me when I first started, because I wasn't doing it right. I was pushing my energy through because I thought we had to really focus and push our energy. It's not. The less you focus, the more you become the channel for the energy. I end up feeling way better after giving Reiki. because I've had all that high vibration energy flowing through, right? But using your energy is not what you're supposed to do as an energy healer. You're supposed to channel the energy. Okay?
Yeah, it's important to channel it, not use yours.
Yeah. Jed says, Spirit leads you where you're needed, and you learn what you're supposed to based on your life experiences and what you're open to learning. That's right. Absolutely. Hypnicity. I'm certified as a Pure Energy Healing Academy practitioner. I work with crystals. Anytime I'm online, I send healing to anyone who asks, and I don't need no specifics. Yeah, exactly. That's that quantum entanglement thing, right? We're all connected, so we can send it out there to any number of people at a given time. You can send it out to the world, to the galaxy, and not be drained because you're just channeling the energy. You're using source, like Jed says. Right? That's right. Yep. Synapses are formed even when if you don't end up using that modality. And that's the basis, right? So often they'll be like for Reiki, for me, Reiki was good. I don't actually use a lot of the symbols now either, but it was good for me because it gave me a tool. It gave me something to use. And I needed that sort of structure when I first started. It was that framework that I needed. And that set up the synapses that I was able to, oh, okay, so maybe the world is a little different than what I thought it was. And I was able to step out of it into some of the other things that I do. So yeah, for sure, I think it does create different synapses, for sure. Cool. Awesome. That's awesome, Hypnicity. Thank you. Any knowledge is good. Absolutely. Yeah. And anytime you take anything, in terms of a healing modality, most of them come with an attunement, which is basically a way for it to expand the amount of energy that you hold and that you can channel. And so anytime you do that, you're just expanding your capacity to hold energy, which just adds to any modality that you take.
And the beauty of these things is not only the what you learn, it's being okay. Wherever that's the one that I was talking about. I was trying to say, and then I got this. I lost my chain of thought. Whenever you're in a group with an intention, the energy in the circle becomes huge and well charged. So just being there, and if you're a squirrel like me and you're distracted by little things here and there, you're still acquiring that knowledge. And it doesn't have to be only physical space. It could be through, like now we're all together. There's a field around us, and we're all part of the same field. So whatever energy we're pushing through, hypnicity is helping out also. We all like charging that little bubble of ours, and we're all gaining from it. So taking classes actually I find to be very helpful, at least for me.
Mm-hmm.
I get to see how people work, how they think, and maybe their thought is better than mine, or their action, not action, but technique that they use, or different view on certain things. So it does help a lot.
Thanks, Michelle. So she took my channeling class. That's a lot of fun, that one. I enjoy it. I like teaching it too. I took something similar. And so, of course, when you learn something, you teach similar to what you learn. Not the same, but similar. So.
No, usually the essence of the teacher comes out in the curriculum, in the way, in the teaching.
Yeah.
And that's why I prefer to go with people that I know, rather than going into, oh, let me see this one over here, this one over there, because I did that before. I went to New York to take a course which took 3 days: Friday evening, Saturday, and Sunday till the afternoon. It was good. It was great. I learned stuff that I didn't know about before. But when I came back and I sat down, I started like looking at the actual creator of that modality. I didn't like it. I didn't like the energy that's been flowing through it. I don't like the ego portion of it that was used and the business base that was used for.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
to resonate with who's teaching.
Yeah.
And if you're not of the same mindset, it's not the same vibration.
Yeah.
So kind of like Teresa says here, yes, everyone throws in their own spices to the recipe.
Beautiful. Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
And Kaylee says, I love my channeling course and our little group. Excited to meet them in person soon. Yeah, we're having a face-to-face because most of them were in the city for the last group that I did. So it's great.
Awesome.
So, yeah. What a great conversation tonight.
That was
Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Thank you all for joining us. You actually charged this evening.
It was
That was
great.
awesome and appreciated. And by the way, because we skipped last week and we're making it this Friday, we have another show next Friday to go back on our regular timing every 2 weeks. So don't forget about us next Friday, 7 o'clock. We're here. And of course, I'll have to send the thing this weekend. I'll try to remember. Because sometimes I forget to the last minute. Yes, it was fun. Thank you.
It was fun. Thank you all.
You. And
Thank you,
that concludes our
Sylvia.
tonight's show. And thank you all for joining us and being here with us. Highly appreciate it. Have an awesome evening, and we'll see you next week.